Hey friends, I notice I'm having more energy and mental focus when I take this new Remedy C60 Evo. The C60 Evo Organic Olive Oil feels wonderful. I take it on a spoon in the morning and I enjoy the benefits all day long and have much deeper sleep at night. C60 Evo Oil is great for your pets as well. They also have very potent face and lip serums and hair renewal kits that really work. Check out the testimonials on their website and see what others are saying. Invest in yourself, your pets, and those you love with C60 Evo Breakthrough Remedies. Because you're worth it. Enjoy discounts for bundle products, monthly subscriptions, and cases. Use our code INSPIRECHANNEL for another 10% off at checkout. Hey, Inspired Tribe, my fellow freedom lovers, John Nolan here. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing, and hitting the notifications button so you'll get notified about new videos when they come out. I wanted to come on for this, again, kind of special transmission. They're always special because they come in because of questions, comments, and an energy stream. And every subject, every topic always has energy around it. And when there's enough energy around it, it needs to be released. So today, I want to talk about the questions that you've been sending in, especially via email lately, of how do I believe that the solutions we talk about, why are they so important? And also, some of you have mentioned that it's crazy how corrupted the news has become, or how corrupted the government has become. And I wanted to get into the principalities. And here's what I have believed for most of my life. If you are looking through a microscope, then you might get a very detailed image of something. But it is the bird's eye view that gives you the principle, it gives you the overview, it gives you the real assessment picture. And that's what I call principalities. So how do these systems operate? And when people say, oh, the news is so corrupted, or the government is so corrupted, and it's become so bad, I'd venture to say, no, it has always been this way. And it comes from a false belief that there are people out there who are manipulating inherently positive or good systems. And I'm saying no, they have created all of these systems. They have moved us away from principled truths, from divine ways of living, slowly but surely over the millennia. It hasn't happened over 10, 15, or 100 years. It's happened over many centuries and millennia. And basically the principle is always the same. People used to live on Earth in communities and clans and tribes with their families in a very principled and divine way, in complete self-reliance and personal responsibility, right? There was no doubt about where the next meal would be coming from. There was no doubt about if any help was needed, where that would be coming from. There was no fear because it was truly how it was designed to be. And the dark entities, and now we can discuss, of course we could discuss who they are and where they come from, but it's not so important at this point. Let's call them the dark entities, the dark energies, have done the same thing over and over again. It's a rinse and repeat strategy. You move people away from what they have slightly, ever so slightly, and you make them dependent on something that you built, okay? It's called building it up and tearing it down. Whether that's a religious system, whether that's a medical system, whether that's the food supply, or a government system, the structure, it doesn't really matter. The idea is, okay, we're going to get people with comfort, with vanity, with flattery, with catering to their ego, their self-importance, their pride, right? By doing that, we're going to get people to subscribe to our new idea and believe in it fully, invest in it fully, right? And so then when that has happened, eventually we're going to tear it down. A good example of this is the Catholic Church. It's been built up over 2,000 years, right? And it has taken this huge, monumental, unquenchable power role in many parts of the world where it couldn't be questioned. Its doctrine couldn't be questioned. It was relentless, and it was the iron rule of the Catholic Church until a few decades ago when they decided to tear it down. So first you had over centuries, again millennia, people, you forced them literally into this belief system, and then you would tear the belief system down and show that it was corrupt, dark, and wrong from the beginning, like the Catholic Church, for example. And with that, you would quench people's self-esteem, quench their sanity, and they would be shattered looking for something else to believe in, which you then present. It's the exact same thing with the news media. The news media a few decades ago was very serious, and the presenters were, more conservative looking, and they would speak seriously in a matter-of-fact kind of way, and you couldn't question really the nature of the news media. That was ludicrous for you to say they're fake news or they're lying, that, yes, they could get something wrong at times. Maybe there was some sort of bias every now and then, but you couldn't say in principality, these are fake organizations. Now, they're not being exposed for who they are. The forces that are controlling the news media are on purpose. They're doing this on purpose. They're tearing the idea of mainstream media down currently by showing how much they lie, how they cheat, how they manipulate, right? That's what they were always meant to do. At this stage of the game, if you will, you are meant to lose faith in everything. They don't want you to have faith in anything right now. They want you to lose all faith. And this is why they're tearing all these systems down. They do the same in entertainment. They build up these figures as godlike figures, and then eventually the scandal comes and they're shown as frauds. And people over and over and over again, they experience the same trauma of believing in something, investing in something, believing they're doing the right thing, they are supporting the right thing, and then it's being shown to them as being completely wrong, evil, immoral. And this is the game. This is in principality the game, the build it up and tear it down game. It's worked like that forever. It's a rinse and repeat strategy. Now we're really approaching an eclipse, and there's only really one path that leads to a viable solution. And this is why we've been talking about it so much. The viable solution is for people to move into full self-reliance and personal responsibility, so they're not dependent on these systems anymore that will inevitably do the same over and over again. They will build something up, tear it down, and replace it with something else. You're meant to be kept in this perpetual state of striving, longing, and looking for something outside of you that will give you the next solution, right? And so the ultimate solution is to actually return to the ways of living that we were meant to live in and that were designed for us, and that are actually, all we have to do is really observe how things work in nature and use our divine consciousness to express us in that particular way. But there are a few steps we need to take on this journey. And the first step is we need to realize that the reason why we're so blocked as a collective and why so many things are so difficult for so many people is because of the perpetual, multi-generational, unhealed trauma. That's the biggest thing. There is perpetual, multi-generational, unhealed trauma. And these dark entities know exactly what that does to the psyche, to the spirit, and to the well-being of humanity. So that's why they have done it that way. So the healing process is the first one, and there are more and more great healing modalities re-emerging for trauma resolution and trauma healing. As we always say, we can only recommend the ones that we have a lot of personal experience with, one of which is Family Constellation. We love Family Constellation. It's a tool and a process we've worked with for many, many years. The second one is a process called The Journey. And that is a thing that it's done in a couple of hours, actually, and you can look it up on thejourney.com. We're not affiliated with Brandon Bass, who's the founder, and she has also a very good book that we encourage you to read called The Journey. So go look up thejourney.com. But in general terms, if this is something you haven't really done yet in your life, or you haven't really approached yet, there's almost no one that we have met in our life and work that doesn't have unresolved trauma. It's simply because of the way we're living in the society today. It's not a judgment call, nothing to be ashamed of, it's just the way it is. So if that's a subject you haven't approached in your life yet, we encourage you to do it. Trauma healing. And trauma healing, if it's done the right way, isn't something that's a perpetual thing that will last for years and years. You might go through these processes multiple times, but they're not a perpetual thing that goes on for years. So once the traumas of our lives are healed and resolved, we find ourselves in a much more creative state again, in a much more balanced and connected state again. And from that, we can actually begin receiving solutions, we can begin receiving guidance, we can begin expressing ourselves according to our purpose in this life more easily, right? So this is the next step after the trauma healing. And then we can begin creating a vision for our lives again. The trauma was in the way of that, and is in the way if it's unresolved. But once that happens, you can really focus on the vision of your life and then move into the inspired action of doing it. And the beautiful thing is that we're currently presented with energies that are coming in, and it's a bigger subject. We're going to talk about this more, of where these energies are coming from and why they're coming in now. But these energies are coming in, they're supporting us in it, which means they serve as accelerators. Processes and things that used to take years now take months and weeks, sometimes days, to be fully implemented within a human being. So we have this beautiful advantage right now. But the bottom line, the key message, the point that we continue to emphasize, it's so important right now, is people need to really step out of this artificial matrix, this fake reality, and step into their own power of healing, envisioning, and co-creating. And the goal, the vision must be to move into a natural, harmonious way of life. It doesn't mean, flee from where you are if you live in a city or whatever your circumstance are. It means heal first what is in your life and what is around you, and then make a new and different choice. But we all have to strive for a way of life where we don't depend on any system that we have no control over. So this is so important. The people who are doing this now and who are committing to this journey of self-reliance and personal responsibility, taking care of your own needs, these are the people that are going to make it. I believe so. That's my intuition telling me, or they're going to make it just fine through this huge disruptive process that is taking place and that is accelerating by the day. As we are seeing this new election cycle in the United States coming up, and it's actually already here, the 2024 presidential election, the way it's intensifying right now, and it's only May of 2023, is absolutely crazy. It's hard to believe that we're going to be able to keep this up until 2024, and there might be a disruptive event before the election, or disruptive events or tipping point events that just might happen, and there's something to fear. Right now, I'm looking at this very unemotionally. I'm taking all the key data points that I can get. I'm observing this, and if you add it all up, and if you do the simple math, such intensity cannot sustain itself, so it must be released in events and unexpected things. And the best way to be sure that you will be fine and that you will be okay is to learn how to take care of yourself and learn how to connect with community again. And I know this has been such a repetitive point here in these conversations. And now you must ask yourself, why would this Nolan guy come on here and continually talk about the same things over and over and over again? There's a reason for this. It's not because I have nothing else to say. It's because I am intuitively guided, and I know this is the most important thing right now for those who can see and hear what is really happening. And that's why we encourage these solutions. They're fairly simple. People have lived like that for eons. And the other thing is that we really want to emphasize, you can look at this current destruction of the system as something fearful, and that's one way to look at it. And if you are charged that way, that's what you're going to see. Or you can look at it as something absolutely necessary and great and needed, right? And we won't be able to build all this beautiful new visions. We won't be able to build them unless it's all coming down, and it is really coming down. I could go into the news stories, but there are just too many, but they all show the same picture. Because as I said in the beginning, this is a orchestrated thing. It's an orchestrated reality. And if you really want to put it to the test, take all the rules, take all the forms that you have to fill out, take all the obligations and the responsibilities that this artificial systems puts on you, and try to apply them after you've taken about a 20, 30, 40 mile walk deep into the woods. See how many of these principles that we live by in this society, how many of these obligations, responsibilities, and rules still apply in deep nature? And you'll find that they don't. None of them are useful or helpful when you're out in nature. And that shows you it is an orchestrated and fake reality that's been created all around us. It is literally like the Truman Show. And so now we're coming to the end of this, and for some, it's the beginning of the absolute dystopian AI fake reality. That's what they're going to go into. Not us. That's not how we're wired and what we want to live and want to see in our lives. But this is what is happening. Build it up, tear it down. Build it up, tear it down. That's the game they're playing. And you can, at some point, if you stop, take a few deep breaths, take a look around, really center yourself in the moment, you'll start seeing the exit signs. There are doors everywhere. You can exit the matrix and enter the prime reality. And this is a journey everybody has to make the decision to get on. Nobody can be forced and not even pushed. You just have to make that choice. And if you enter this prime reality or natural reality or nature, you will see that completely different laws apply, completely different ways of living. It's a humble, it's a primal, beautiful, and divinely inspired way of living. And that's why we're repeating this. That's why we're so inspired to speak about these things. Because I believe once it clicks, you know, and you will never be able to unknow again. All right, thank you so much for tuning in. We love you, we appreciate you, and we'll be back with you again very, very soon. Would you like to get access to exclusive content as well as being part of a community of like-minded people posting, sharing, and connecting on a deeper level? Come join the Inspired community on Locals, where we share more intimately and privately and do our Coffee and Truth live streams as well as our Honey Talks show, the only Inspired show with Christine Nolan. The Inspired community is absolutely uncensored and unfiltered, a place for truth, authenticity, and freedom. Join us now at inspired.locals.com or click on a link in the video description.